Next, I'm going to look at significant figures. Now, the word significant means big or important. So, the word significant means big or important. So, take for example, if we take the number 3268, we can see here that 3 is worth the most. This is because 3 represents 3000. So 3 is worth the most. This is because 3 represents 3000 because of its place value. Represents 3000. So we usually say that 3 is the first significant figure. So 3 is the first, therefore 3 is the first significant figure. Significant figure in the number 3268. So 3 is the first significant figure in the number 368. It's worth the most, right? Remember, it represents 3000. So that's first important point. Let me just write that. Again, another thing that we can say is 2 is the second significant figure. So 2 is the second significant figure. Okay? Because 2 represents hundreds, right? Because we can use a blue here. 2 represents 200. And then 6 is the third significant figure. Because 6 represents tens. And then finally 8 is the fourth significant figure. This is because 8 here represents the units. Okay. So if you're asked to round to a certain number of significant figures, just count through the number until you reach the digit that you need, then round exactly as you would for whole numbers or decimals. So for example here, round 3268 to one significant figure. So that means we stop at 3. So we look at the next number, it's less than 5. So what you're going to end up with is 3, but you have to add the zeros for the place values. Otherwise, if you just leave it as 3, it won't make sense. Remember, 3 represents thousands here, so 3,000. Two significant figures, that means you stop at 2, look at the next number, which is 6. So add one more, we'll end up with 3300. Next one, we have 3 significant figures. That means you stop at 6, look at the next number, which is 8, add one more, so 3270. Now, some rules for rounding off in significant figures, especially if you have zeros in between. So I'm just going to use an example here to illustrate what I mean. Suppose you have a question like this. 0.0001230045600. Now, these leading zeros, I'll call them leading zeros. When you're counting, for example, you want to have first significant figure, second significant figure. So if you want to find significant figures, so in order of which one is important, the leading zeros are never significant. So leading zeros are never significant. Okay. Now, these zeros here, I'll call them captive zeros. Now, these captive zeros are always significant because they hold a place value in that number. So, are always significant. And then these zeros at the end, these ones here, I'll call them trailing zeros. Now, these zeros are only significant if a decimal is to the right. But because the decimal is to the left, they are not significant. So, are only significant okay? So if the decimal is at the left, it's not, like in this case here, the trailing zeros here are not significant. Okay, so I'm going to look at some examples on how we can apply this knowledge to round the following to given amount of significant figures. So the first one, 2 significant figures, that's a first significant figure, that's a second significant figure. So I'll just end up with 12 because the next number is 0. Just ignore it, just write 12. One significant figure. Now remember what I said, the leading zero are never significant. So that's the first significant figure. 1 is the first significant figure. So to one significant figure, that will just be 0.1, because if you look at the next number, it's 0, so just ignore it. 3 significant figure, in this case, that's my first significant figure, that's the second, that's the third. Look at the next one, it's 1, so ignore it. So my answer will be 456. Question D, four significant figure. Now this will be my first significant figure, second, third, and fourth. If you look at the next number, which is 6, that means it's more than 5. We're going to add 1 here, so that will be 400.1. Next question, three significant figure. Now remember what I said here in the very beginning is that really, the leading zeros here are not significant. So my first significant figure here will be 2. Second will be 0. Third will be 0. So my answer here will be 0.0200. Because if you look at 4, it's of course less than 5. So ignore. We just ignore it. So answer will be 0.00200, which is equal to 0.02. Sorry, missed that. So this will be equal to 0.00200, which will be equal to 0.0002.